Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you'd like to see, remember to hit that like button. You want to see more? Hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. It's episode number 46. At the end of the last episode, I was saying we were going to move forward to the start of the new season, but there's just too much on the line in terms of this recruiting class, as I have just 2 out of potentially 7 scholarships offered right now. What I'd really prefer is to have 4 incoming freshmen and 1 incoming junior college player. Still not sure if that's going to be the case. At the moment, I actually have 5 incoming freshmen offered scholarships, plus the 1 junior college player. Little nervous about going for that extra one, but we'll see. I don't think I'll necessarily push one of those final guards, especially the extra point guard, and may retract it. But we're going to try to finish that up in this episode, and then try to roll into the new recruiting class for next season. Now, we've already gone past a little bit of the end of season stuff. The awards. Davies actually ended up being first team all conference. A little surprising on that one, as he did not have the greatest of seasons, actually, to my opinion, especially compared to other players on the team, but to each his own. And so in our season review, you can see we more than qualified for NIT. We did not. We won the conference tournament. I forgot about that. We won the conference tournament. Okay. We did win 20-plus games. No ineligibility. And our prestige rises from 48 to 50 now. That's still not a big increase, but it's going to take some Elite 8 Final Four appearances to really start bringing that prestige up much at all. I would imagine we are likely headed for a yo-yo year where we're going to go up to Conference A and then bounce back to Conference B. Just looking at all the graduates that we're going to have, it's going to be tough to overcome that. So before we move forward, as we are into the job hiring phase, this is the opening of that final contact period at the end of the season. So we still have 11,000. Apparently I have all scholarships out. We'll look directly at those. 3, 6. Yeah, that's 7. Where the heck did I get off giving out more than 1? I have 2 power forwards. Right. I think we pushed for Gordon. And then the double point guard as well. I forgot I had done that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and look through these guys and see. Barnes likes us. That's the JC sophomore. I do want to get him, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous about doing so. I suppose I don't mind as much if we have a backup power forward who is a freshman versus also a junior coming in. There's our big guy, Al Morrison. Okay, so Chris Zimmerman, we're not even on his list right now. That's not a good start. Herrera, we did not put the effort in here, and I may back off on him, especially actually. New evaluation shows that he is a C overall. So let's go ahead and retract that scholarship. I don't need to be offering all 7. Okay, Matt Gordon. This was the player we jumped in on late, and right away, he actually really likes us. So that is a good one. We will absolutely pitch academics to him, and we will push for Matt Gordon. Justin Smith, the one that just signed on. So we got our center. Nigel Porter, number 7 on his list. not looking good, but we really need a small forward. Location, that's why it didn't jump quite so much, because we can't pitch location. We pitched facilities, that brought us up to number 7. I'm wondering if we pitch academics, if that's going to do anything different. So we'll try that this time. Okay, Taylor's not on the list. So that's 2 guys keyed in. We're down to 6 now, and I should be able to pitch 4 of them if I want. So we'll go back to Barnes. Yeah, let's do it. Facilities. Morrison's already a lock. Zimmerman, the other one to look at. We're not on his radar right now. That's a little worrying. And I just retracted that scholarship from the other point guard, which would be the replacement if we don't grab the shooting guard. So, academics. Pitch that. And that's going to do it. See what happens. Zimmerman, kind of the only one. I mean, we at least got to double plus from a single plus. Alright, the next period is actually job hiring, which we will not partake in. But if we look at prestige, right, we just hit 50. So Alabama in Conference D is still well above us with a 63 prestige. This is their basketball program, not their football program. Arizona at a 71, that is far more realistic, and that's actually down from where they were. They were in the 80s, but they've really struggled. They've gone from Conference A down to Conference C. Arkansas is a 74, also a bit unrealistic for their basketball program. Boston College is 68. Here's a 52 in BYU, so we still haven't even gotten to their level, and they're down in Conference G. Butler, who we just played in the first round, is Conference D at a 59. Cal, a 54. Cincinnati, 87. Clemson, a 55. Colorado, a 52. It's crazy that we still haven't even... Creighton has a higher rating than us. And have really nice facilities, apparently. Wow, look at that Duke. 94, A+, and an A. Florida. Georgia Tech. An 84, dang. Georgia is a 53. You would think, compared to these others, and we've done a lot more. Houston's had that one super amazing season a few seasons back, but outside of that, they haven't done anything. Illinois hasn't done anything. Well, they've been up there a few times, but I can see why Indiana still has high prestige, despite low facilities and academics. Dang, how are they pulling that one off? Oh, hello. Kansas State on probation? Oh my goodness, they got busted for something, huh? Kentucky on probation. Wow. Okay. LSU is a 71 prestige in basketball. Louisville, I can see why they're that high, but just Marquette. I don't see why my prestige rises this slowly, right? We win Conference B tournament, and we get to the Sweet 16, and my prestige went up by 2. Whatever. It is what it is. We are not taking any of those jobs, so we move on. New mail. Here we go. End of this week.
You have new mail.
Oh boy. We just and I just lost my assistant coach going to LaSalle, the head coaching job. Home visits all went good. Porter, Smith, Gordon, Zimmerman, and Barnes all say yes. So we end up getting 6 players. At least we pulled back one of those. We've saved 1 scholarship. We have 1 JC guy and 5 freshmen coming in. The 5 freshmen, 1 at each position. And then we've got the additional junior college player making 2 power forwards coming into the roster. So I suppose that's a good thing. I mean, we got all of them that we still had an offer out there for. On to staff hiring. And it's not a bad recruiting class. I mean, our lowest ranked guy was Oregon local kid Justin Smith at 333 on those final rankings. Only 1 inside the top 100 though. So this might not be the best group. And that's why I worry about next season quite a bit. So staff. It's our first assistant that we just lost. Do I want to promote you? Well, we'll have to see what's out there. Offensive rating, not very good. Pretty good recruiter, though. He's still got 3 years. And Gottlieb's definitely not going to get promoted. In fact, he's probably going to get replaced. Now, both of these guys are about $45,000 on their salary. Keep that in mind as we go into the staff hiring. Here we go. Highest reputation guys. I don't know if this is tied to prestige or not, how this works, but our prestige just hit 50, and you can see reputation. The highest one on the list here is a 49. So maybe that has something to do with it. And what we're looking for is our coach with good player development. So we got a 56 down here on player development. But he's not as good here. Mike Young is looking pretty dang solid. But whether we can get him at 50,000 is looking pretty iffy. It's probably going to take more like 60,000 to get him signed. We might try something like 57,000 to start. But this would be an outstanding coach. Really high ambition. He's probably only going to last a year. Maybe we'll go for a 3-year contract. Give it a shot. Doesn't accept, but he's still available. And the others that are available, that list just dropped quite a bit. So I think we need to offer him quite a bit more than we did. Otherwise, he's going to sign with someone else right now. 63,000, we'll give that a shot. I will probably have to ask for more money, but Conference A at 50,000, I mean, come on. Go ahead and run day. Mike Young going to Michigan. So we just lost all of the good ones just like that. Okay, Aaron Fuss. It's a good coach. Player development's a lot lower though. At least we're going to get into a salary range that we really can afford. Alright, so what to offer? 50,000 is kind of right in his happy zone. We'll try 48,000. And 2 years. Nothing. 50,000. 2 years. Might have to offer 3. Come on. Guess he's not signing elsewhere. 53. I suppose we'll go 3 years. Wow, he's still not signing. How much money are you making at Chattanooga? Oops. 55,000. What the heck? I need to go after somebody else. I mean, we're already way beyond the money he should be making, and he's not signing. This guy's gonna have better player development, but just terrible defensive coach. This guy at least is a little more balanced. Maybe we'll go here. It should be better money. Let's see, what's the happy zone here? About 45,000. So we'll start there. 45. 2 years. I don't want him for long. Come on. This is insane. Why can't you... why won't you guys sign? And this is way beyond halfway. So look at the guys that have no job right now. Oh, look at that. Okay. Player development higher. Much higher. You don't have the defensive coaching though. But here, Rex Walters, lower reputation, better coach. Look at that defense. I like that. I like that a lot. We'll try this guy. I don't like the salary range though. But come on, Albany. Let's go with 47,000. And let's go with it. Alright, you know what? Screw it. Let's go with a 3-year deal. Rex Walters takes the job. There you go. Alright, we got our man. We got our man. Rex Walters, 10 years experience. Has signed on. He'll run practice. Still upset about losing our guy and not getting the best replacement, but
You have new mail.
All right, we need to definitely push for budget, so hopefully
You have new mail.
we will get it. It's our limited chance
You
year
have
by
new
year.
mail.
Prestige is 50 now, and there it is. Budget approved. Budget approved. It's only 9,000 more, but 9,000. That's definitely more money to work with. And we've hit the 200,000 mark, which is still pretty dang small. And looking, not roster. I mean, you're almost 150 right there. We're what, 5, 9, 12,000 shy of 150, so 138. So we'll have 62,000 left over. My salary's not counted as part of that. So 62,000 is our budget for recruiting, and that's not too bad. 62,000, that's not too bad. I love how each one of them makes 1,000 more than the next guy down the list. It's really sad though. Gottlieb, yeah, we will not re-sign him. He's going to be gone. All right, so end of season. That'll take us into the next season. We'll see what we have recruiting-wise in just a little bit, and then we'll set ourselves up for that. All in all, we had a very successful year. I'm just really nervous about this coming season, as we are so young, and outside of one player, not exactly our best recruiting class. Bring in a decent coach in Rex Walters, increase in budget, that part's all good.
You have new mail.
Prestige hits 50. That's a nice landmark. But you saw from the jobs available that there's still much, much higher prestige than what we have. All right, recruit class rankings. You would think we should be high on this on the number of players we had, but with the quality only the one, we only managed 33rd. Duke, Nevada. Wow, Nevada number 2 and preseason number 1 favorite. Dang. Miami at 3, Wake Forest and North Carolina round out the top 5. All right, so basketball budget, 200,000 and 2 scholarships. So it's going to be a very different year for us after what we just went through. Scheduling notice, yeah, we'll get to that. Scouting reports, and no, we are definitely not skipping the summer. Never have, never will. Okay, so 62,000. Spend 5 of that on a basic West report. Or should we just spend 10? Let's, you know what? I've gone national anyway. Let's get a national basic report.
You have new mail.
And then skip
You have
camps.
new mail.
So I'll have 52,000 left for recruiting, but I've got a basic report nationally. I think that's actually going to be a good step in the right direction for us. Player transferring. Good news, nobody's transferring out. Transfer session. Number 1, I do have a scholarship available. I could use it to bring somebody in. It'll offset where we're at with all those freshmen. I don't necessarily want to though, but we'll take a look. Looks like there's 3 players rated as a C. I have one that was already key player, low GPA though. Not really wanting to go that way. Got a few quality defensive guys. Steal, block, defensive rebound, defense, free throw, outside, inside. Handling, passing, not that great. Scoring, not that great. This is a pretty decent player right here. And it's shooting guard, and he's at 3.5. And he wants to go to Kentucky or Michigan, Temple, Kansas, or Purdue. If anyone, I think this is our guy. Sure, let's, we'll contact Jerry Smith and make him an offer. That'll be the only one we go for. If we get him, we get him. If we don't, we will, not
You
worry
have
about
new
it.
mail.
No sign. Not with us or anyone. And his numbers have actually changed. Ooh, interesting. So that is not set in stone. Interest is a Y, yes, and we're number 1 on the list. Scoring, passing, handling. Outside is reclassified as a 100. Defense went up by a couple notches, I think. It was a 45 or a 46. This guy's got some decent quality. I mean, he's coming from Georgia Tech.
You
This
have
is
new
using
mail.
a little bit of our budget, by the way.
You have new mail.
Jerry Smith. Okay. All right, we picked up Jerry Smith. There goes our last scholarship. And that means we are now done. Jerry Smith, shooting guard, coming to our school. He'll have to sit this season out. But we'll have him for next season.
You have new mail.
Hopefully. We made a good call
You have new
on
mail.
that one. Looks like a pretty decent player.
You have new mail.
Maybe not a starter,
You have new mail.
but definitely should be a solid minutes kind of guy. Okay, so we're Travis' schedule. Not gonna worry about that. Let's go ahead and just clear that while we have a chance. Summer travel. I'm gonna skip this. I'm not gonna go to any camps. They are so useless. Every time, the scouting reports that I get out of those change drastically as soon as I start watching film. It's just not enough of a look. I'm sure it would boost my scouting rating over time, but not going to spend money on that, especially when we only have 50,000.
You have new mail.
You can see we are not opening the season as a ranked team, but that doesn't surprise me. For one, we never have. And two, after all those players that graduated, I, as already mentioned, have a feeling that this could be a very down year for us. Have a feeling that our goals are probably going to be a bit too lofty this season. 2028 Pro Draft. North Carolina shooting guard Jimmy Tan goes first. Let's see if we got anyone in the draft out of all those graduates. No one. Oof. Figured we might have one second round, but no, nothing. All right, recruiting begins. Before we can jump into that, though, we need to know what is going to require refilling. Now, GPA, let me check that first and foremost. Okay, we're okay. Barnes, the JC transfer coming in, his GPA is not great. Al Morrison, also not great, a 2.8 coming in, so we got to keep an eye on those two. But we'll get back to positions, break it down. So we have a junior, 2 freshmen. Great. Okay, we have a freshman, 2 sophomores, all on scholarship. So we don't need a guard. 3 small forwards. We have a freshman, a sophomore, a walk-on senior. And then a power forward, we have a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior. And finally, at center, we have a freshman, a senior, and a walk-on sophomore. I don't actually have 2 scholarships to offer. I only have 1. Why? Because we just took the JC transfer at shooting guard, and that's Jerry Smith, who is ineligible, 3.5 GPA, true sophomore, has not redshirted. So hopefully I can give him a red shirt. I can. Good. So he'll use his red shirt as he's ineligible anyway. So there's 1. Now I can actually only do 1 more. It's got to be an underclassman. Sophomores are eligible for that as well. However, I really don't want to get into doing that with a sophomore as we have this giant freshman class. So I'd like to take one of those freshmen. I can tell you already it's not going to be Al Morrison because he's going to be a fantastic player and instant starter, I would imagine. And then we'll kind of go from there on what's left. You can see the lineup is absolutely gutted. Kennedy played some decent minutes last season. We do have Udonis Cougar and Shane Kirkland. So with those 2 around, there's a good chance that like Matt Gordon at power forward, especially with the JC transfer of Barnes, Matt Gordon will likely be the other unless he's a can't-miss player. Justin Smith could be, but without him, there's no real backup because Asbury, But it's going to be a center. We are absolutely going to recruit a center. That's going to make life really easy. I could and should be able to get the best or one of the best centers out there. So let's go ahead and kind of see what is available. We're going to look at nothing but centers. I'm not even going to look at who's interested. We're just going to look at all the centers nationwide. Now the good news, the main thing about that scouting report that we picked up is we have GPAs already. So we're going to start right from the top of the list. We're going to go through a 2.8 is just enough. So we're going to go for this number 1 guy. Top center in the land. Why don't I have your GPA showing up? Are you really not going to show me their GPA? Because there it is. That's weird that that didn't show up. Well, this is going to take longer than I thought. 2.4 is not going to cut it. 3.1 will. Port Orchard, Washington. It's helpful. Seattle-ish. 2.6 JC transfer. Funny thing is, I don't even need to necessarily have a long list. Pretty much just from the top 100, I should almost certainly be able to get our guy with massive efforts surrounding it. No. Wow, okay, next two. We'll take these two. I don't know why it's bugging out and not showing me their GPA, but that was Howell. Funny story for you. So, you've probably heard of Gomer Powell. Okay. Going back, World War II, promotional videos, Gomer Powell was this, like, what not to do example. Kind of comedic fashion. And to this day, in the Army, not everybody, but within the Army, there's still talk about Gomer Powell, often referencing it as the what not to do. And from what I've heard and from what I experienced when I was in the Army, when I was in basic training, the drill sergeants still, they pick somebody out of the group that is their Gomer Powell, somebody who is struggling the most. Sykes likes us, so we'll add him to the list as well. And I think that's our list of centers. That's a short list, but we definitely should be able to get somebody ranked in the top 180. Let's just see the interest list and see if there's anybody out there top 50 or something that likes us already. There is JC transfer power forward, who would almost certainly be able to play center, right? And number 53 shooting guard, but his, I had both of these guys just because of how high they're ranked, the fact that they already like us. It'd be nice if they were from Oregon, to where you really get the boost, but Davis likes us too, but 2.1 GPA? No, not happening. Anyway, in my unit, we had that guy, and it just so happened that didn't have the exact name, but had a name really close that rhymed with Powell. And never forget that kid. Felt really bad for that kid, actually, in the end. So I was a scout in the Army. And if you know anything about units, Scout Basic is the hardest. Okay, now, the way the Army works, or at least it did 20 years ago, the way the Army works in its training format is you take all of the combat units, so all the jobs that are specific to combat, they go to a specialized training for basic. Everybody else in a non-combat role, clerks, cooks, mechanics, etc., they all go to the basic training as you probably know it from film. Modern films, anyway. They go to the generic basic training. They're all lumped in together. They have male and female drill sergeants. They have male and female members in those units. But if you are a combat unit, if you are infantry, if you're a tanker, if you are a scout, you have a specialized training. For me, that specialized training was Scout Basic. Dang, that is a short list. I've never worked with such a short list before. This is going to be interesting. So, my unit, right, it was all scouts. My drills were all scouts. And unlike normal 9-week basic training, mine was, oh gosh, now I've forgotten. 13 weeks? 14 weeks? It's been a couple decades. But we had that guy. We had that guy in our basic. And like I said, it's a long, 14 and a half weeks, whatever it was. And this guy, and Scout Basic, at least from what I was told, and I have never confirmed whether this is factually true or not, but from what I was told, Scout Basic is the most elite training within the Army. Infantry training is pretty intense, but the scope, the role of an infantryman is very specific. So their scope is rather limited. So yes, it's an intense training, and it's high profile, but it's limited in scope. So their training is actually shorter than Scout training. Why is Scout training longer? Because you need to have all of the training that an infantryman has, and then you need to actually know what a Scout does. Why do you need all of that? Because in a traditional sense, within role, right, a Scout is beyond the enemy line. So you need to know how to fight the way an infantryman can and would. But also, you need
You have new mail.
to know the functions and the job as a Scout. And then you need a whole assortment of other things that fit into other specialties, because you are or can be alone or in a small group for long periods of time. So there's a lot of specialized training. In addition to all that intensity of infantry style training. Needless to say, it's challenging. And needless to say, there's a very high failure rate. Extremely high failure rate.
You have new
And
mail.
lots and lots and lots of soldiers in basic training get recycled. They go back and they have to redo. Now, generally what happens is if you're in, say, week 6 of training and they've determined you're just too far behind the curve, what they do is they're going to send you to down the road to another group that's in training that is further behind. So they'll send you to a group that's, say, in week number 4. So you're going to redo those 2 weeks of training with a new group so that you can relearn all of that stuff, and they're going to give you another shot. They don't just kick you out, but they recycle you. And they'll kick you back, and sometimes they kick you back 1 week, sometimes they'll kick you back 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but usually every week there's one new group starting off, or just about every week. At least there was back in my time, and I was actually stationed at the same base where I did my training afterward, and they were still running at the same when I left there. Well, like I said, the standard is about 2 to 4 weeks of recycling, resetting back to get that additional training. And this guy, this Gomer Powell type, wow, look at all those A's. Nice. He was really bad. Really, really bad. He was in 2nd platoon starting out. We had three platoons. And it took all of about 3 weeks, if memory serves me correct, before his drill sergeant, his second platoon drill sergeant, determined that he was done. I don't want you here anymore. You are getting recycled. And he was, I think, the first or maybe the second to be designated for being recycled. Because he was that bad. And he had already long since been identified, especially with the rhyming in his name. But instead of being recycled, I was in 3rd platoon. My drill sergeant said, you know what? We'll take him. We'll take him. I'll work with him. So, it wasn't that he wanted to work with him, actually. He was brought in as a tool. A tool to serve a very specific function. Now, here's the thing about
You have new mail.
war. When you make a mistake, it could cost you your life. But what is more likely to happen is that when you make a mistake,
You have new mail.
it's going to cost your buddy in the foxhole next to you his life. And maybe the one next to him as well. And maybe a guy a few foxholes down from there. So, your mistakes cost everybody else. It's team first, not individual. Unlike any team sport out there, such as college basketball. So, this guy was absolutely identified as that guy who was going to cost other people their lives. So in basic training, to help teach you this and the importance of this, they use mass punishment. And when you make a mistake, most of the time, instead of punishing you, they're going to punish everybody around you. And by punishment in basic training, that largely means physical training. Tens of thousands of push-ups as one example of that physical training. Okay, so 2 guys that are a C, probably not going to make it on this list. So this guy was brought in as a physical training tool for everybody else because it was inevitable that he was going to make mistakes. It was inevitable that he was going to make multiple mistakes every day. This guy had very low IQ, very, very low. And I swear to you, I did thousands of push-ups and other various physical exercises because of him and him alone, let alone what everybody else in the unit did with their own mistakes. I mean, we had 60 guys or whatever it was. But we did so much additional physical training compared to the other platoons that we absolutely crushed the competition between the platoons. And it was all because of him. Not because he was good, but because he was so bad. Day before graduation, he was still there. But that day, that morning, he was marched out. And unfortunately with one other as well. And the other one was actually a friend of mine, and it was sad to see it happen. But day before graduation, he was marched out. And they marched him all the way down to a group that was just starting. Week 0. They hadn't even started their first day of training. They were just getting picked up that day. He started basic all over again. They didn't reset him 2 weeks, 4 weeks. They reset him the whole 14 and a half weeks, 13 and a half weeks, whatever it was. The entire reset. Even I felt bad for him for that. But now, what they do is if you've been recycled a couple times and you're really not getting it, that's where they kick you out. He didn't get kicked out, or at least not at that point. I have no idea what happened to him after being recycled, other than that it was all the way down to that complete reset. And yeah, even I felt bad for him. I especially felt bad for my friend who struggled. And I was somebody who tried to help him out. I helped him learn the ropes relatively well. I was squad leader all the way through basic training. I was first squad leader. But I certainly worked with him, and he did struggle, and he was not quite there, and not quite fit, and not quite at the standard he needed to be. But he was a nice guy, and I had sympathy for him. That's why I worked with him, and became befriended him. But yeah, that sucked. He should have only been recycled 4 or 5 weeks, if not allowed to graduate. But yeah, that one was harsh. But the other guy absolutely understood, and still had sympathy for him after that, though, because that's rough to have to start completely all over again. Ironically, after I got out of the military, I thought about joining back up. Eventually, I got out much earlier than I wanted to. I actually got out on medical discharge, broken back, permanent problems, but minor that I thought I could pass physical to get back in, and really thought about it. Knew I'd have to go through basic all over again, and it was like, because I was past a certain window where you'd have to redo. Yeah, gave it thought. Actually thought about going as an officer because got my degree, and that does change things, but still. And it's not the same for them. It is definitely not the same. Well, anyway, maybe a story for another day. Thanks for listening to my story. Thanks for watching this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. That's going to do it for this episode. Looks like we've got a good batch of recruits, and we've already got this guy out of California, Harrington, who really likes us, but that's a shooting guard. That's not the position I'm looking for, but he is an A, and he's a really good passer, but not a great shooter, good rebounder, good defender, though. I really like one of these guys, though. I mean, look at how amazing Spears is. Wouldn't that be phenomenal if he decided to come to us? Only one scholarship to offer, but I've got the capability of pushing and recruiting 4 guys at once when the time comes. So we'll have our options, and we should be able to make progress with one of them. The only tricky thing is, actually, not so tricky. There's only one guy in the top 25. Surprising on this list. So usually it's the top 25 where I struggle. Outside of 25, pretty good. So I should have a pretty easy time with my next 3 selections. Spears probably going to be a bit too far out of our reach. We have not recruited anyone quite that high yet. North Carolina, Duke, they all jump in, pump prestige, and bam, they sign in an instant. Like I said, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.